you to one of my very good friends, John Ebner. He has, exactly, clap it up. He's an amazing person with an amazing experience. It's a difficult experience, but what he took from it is really amazing, and he's one of my very best friends. So, here you go.
First, I just gotta say, wow.
Yeah.
This event is incredible. I can't believe Jamie was worried that not enough people would show up. I'd say we did okay. So, what I took when I first found out about this organization, it's a lot about people coming out and sharing their stories. So, today, I can't ask any of you to share your story if I didn't come up here and make myself vulnerable and share my story first. So today I'm here to simply share my story with you in hopes that maybe I inspire just one of you or many of you to one day share your story. Elie Wiesel, a Holocaust survivor, once said, "Whoever survives a test, whatever it may be, must tell the story. That is his duty." My story begins on November 9th, 2010. I was in the downstairs bathroom of my childhood home, and I was looking at a blemish on my face in the mirror, and I heard a gasp for breath from down the hall. I immediately sprinted down the hall and I screamed for my aunts and my brother, "Dan, Aunt Cindy, get downstairs now, it's time." There we all sat. My mom, my aunt, my brother, my younger brother, and myself. And lying in front of us was to each of us the greatest man we ever knew, about to take his last breath. This man to me, he was my mentor, my spiritual guide. He was my best friend. This man also happened to be my father. Now everyone said their goodbyes, and my mother turned to me and she said, "John, he's waiting for you. You gotta tell him it's okay to go." So I simply said, I didn't really want to do this. So I simply said, "Dad, it's okay to go." He took another breath. He couldn't go unless I really meant it. Now, I'll never forget this moment for the rest of my entire life, and I think about it every day. I took a deep breath, and I remember the tears building from the bottom of my stomach up through my heart and out my eyes. I grabbed my dad's hand and I said, "Dad, I love you. It's okay to go. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna survive." In that exact moment, he passed. Now I thought, and we thought, my family, that was going to be the worst of it. But what we would go on to experience in the months and year to come, we could have never imagined. We had a business to run, bills to pay, grief, anger, despair. It was all very overwhelming. There were times I was living in New York City, there were times where I literally had to stop in the middle of the street just to sit down and cry. I've never been so lost in my entire life. There were times where I thought the pain would never end. There were times where I wanted to die alongside my father. But there was a moment of light. About 8 months after my father passed, things began to shift. I decided I no longer wanted to die alongside my father, but instead have him live through me. And living is what we were going to do. I moved back into my childhood home to help run my family business and take care of my family. And about 8 months after, me and my mom decided we were ready for me to move back out into the city, and I found a wonderful place in New York City. And I found an apartment with my girlfriend, we furnished it, and we created a new home, a fresh start. Also, believe it or not, I'm an amateur boxer. I was supposed to have my first bout after my dad passed, the weekend after he passed, and I didn't go. Not only did I not go to the bout, I couldn't even look at my gear for months. But you know what? About the same time, I picked up my gear, and I not only went back to the gym, but I started training vigorously. Because I don't know if anyone's heard of this tournament, the New York Golden Gloves, big boxing tournament. I wanted to participate in this boxing tournament. Last night, I participated in the second bout, in the second round of the New York Golden Gloves. Like I said, things were beginning to shift. Now, grief of loss in any form, it doesn't have to be a loved one, whether it's a job, a relationship, an apartment, creates an opportunity to be reborn. This shift for me was my rebirth. Because I found through this experience that when you change what's going on in here, things begin to change out there. I also want to share with you something my father said to me a couple weeks before he passed, because I think that's necessary. He said to me, "John, I no longer want to see people. I want to see people." Now, what he meant by this is he no longer wanted to see people for their outward appearance or success. He didn't have time. He wanted to see people for their inner beauty, their truth. And that he did. That's my story of struggle and triumph. I hope something I said today has helped you, touched you, or maybe inspired even just one of you to go find Jamie and want to share your story. Because you see, your story has power. Your story can inspire others, right? Your story can change lives, including your own. In a book called Healing After Loss by Martha Whitmore Hickman, she says, "Our friends will come to their crisis of loss soon enough. Perhaps we can ease the way for them." And this is coming from a boxer. See, it's all right to cry. It's all right to rely on other people. It's all right to be confused and not know what to do. And if there are moments of light and hope, of wonderful support and faith, why, we need to share those stories too.
Baby, you're a